The weather forecast with MTN.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome once again to a brand new week, and thank you for having me on the weather forecast. I hope you had an excellent day. Tonight, we look forward to a calm weather condition across the nation with moderate winds and light precipitation expected in parts of the southwest region. Temperatures are expected to get as low as 13 to 14 degrees in the west, northwest Adamawa and the far north regions tonight, with the little while getting a minimum of 16 degrees, and the rest of the nation, including the southwest, west, center, east, and the south regions, would expect temperatures to get as low as 17 to 23 degrees. In detail, we take you over to the far north region, where no precipitation will prevail in the entire region tonight, and a similar weather condition to progress until morning, with lowest temperature expected at 18 degrees. Next, we go on to the Adamawa region, where no showers are expected in any of the towns tonight, and a similar weather condition to progress until morning, and quite favorable for you to go about your activities. And we end with the southwest region, where no showers are expected in the entire region tonight, but light showers will progress in the morning in the town of Limbe. So I encourage you to find time and go see what Mount Cameroon looks like. Thank you for watching. Have a good night and good luck.
That was the weather forecast with MTN.
Together, it's 20 over 20, 20,000 cash every 20 minutes, 20 cars and 20 million francs. Buy a bundle from 250 francs. Dial *22#.
As students take to their different establishments for the second term today, the strict respect of COVID-19 measures preoccupies school officials who are determined to cover all syllabuses despite the challenges of the double shift system. Woods and agriculture become the two promising sectors in Cameroon as to boost its projected 8% growth rate by 2030. Economic experts called for concerted efforts between the public and private sector to achieve this goal. Plus, roads in Cameroon continue to spill blood with 7% accidents attributed to human factors. Night journeys become one. Get the reactions of Cameroonians in this newscast. And those are top stories. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this edition of the 7:30 News. I'm Gladys Tata.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
Welcome back from this advert here. We begin this newscast with this decree number 2021/001 of 4th of January 2021 to convene the Electoral College of the Menua constituency for election of representatives of traditional rulers of Menua Division in the West Regional Council. The President of the Republic, mindful of the Constitution, mindful of Law Number 2021/1 of 19th April 2012 relating to the Electoral Code and all subsequent amendments thereto, mindful of option of representatives of traditional rulers of Menua Division in the West Regional Council. Article 2, voting shall begin at 8 a.m. and shall end at 6 p.m. Article 3, this decree will be registered, published according to the procedure of urgency and inserted in the official gazettes in English and French. Yaoundé, 4th of January 2021, signed Paul Biya, President of the Republic. The head of state has, in a decree signed today, as you heard earlier on, convened the Electoral College for the election of representatives of traditional rulers of the Menua Division of the West Region. The list earlier proposed were disqualified. The election will now take place on the 4th of April 2020. Ebenezer Akanga reports on why the election will instead take place on April 2020.
Representatives of traditional rulers in Menua Division of the West Region were submitted for the regional council elections of December 6, 2020. ELECAM disqualified the two lists for non-respect of sociological balance. But the leader of one of the lists, His Majesty Tsidi Gabriel, petitioned the administrative court in Bafoussam that rehabilitated his list. Not satisfied with the decision, ELECAM took the matter to the administrative bench of the Supreme Court that again disqualified the list. Hence, there was no list in the category of representatives of traditional rulers in Menua Division for the regional council elections. The head of state has signed a decree convening the Electoral College in Menua Division to elect representatives of traditional rulers to the West Regional Council. 156 traditional rulers who are eligible to vote will therefore go to the polls on the 4th of April 2021 to elect representatives of traditional rulers of Menua Division to the Regional Council.
On to this lead story, the second term of the 2020-2021 school year has taken off in Cameroon, with pupils and students returning to their respective schools with a firm determination to succeed at the end. From public to private school establishments, emphasis on this first day has been the strict respect of COVID-19 measures and how to recover lost time to be imposed by extracurricular activities like public holidays this term. Cynthia Saptala visited some schools in Yaoundé and now tells us more.
It was the usual Monday morning traffic, with now pupils and students in uniforms making their way back to school for the second term. With gentle reminders from teachers to pick up pace, some pupils seemed to still be in the festive season. But it's back to school, a short and decisive term with lots of tests according to authorities, and of course a global virus that continues to spread. To keep at bay COVID-19 on campus, officials in charge say all barrier measures are enforced to the letter.
I've assured the students that COVID is still around. As you make every term, you meet a wash hand facility.
In our school, we ensure the putting on of face mask as from the entrance, and we make sure that the students stay with it in their classrooms and in the campus. We keep at a distance from each other.
But not all seemed to comply this morning. A few students were seen without face masks and were immediately scolded by teachers.
According extra teaching hours, instituting Saturday classes, as well as giving out prepared lessons for students to study at home, form of the strategies taken by school administrators in Yaoundé to cover the syllabuses within the double shift system in place. From government schools to private establishments, the enthusiasm in some is same with parents who have been called upon to assist students and teachers achieve success at the end of this second term. Emmanuel Avemye visited some schools in Yaoundé and now reports.
A rush to secure a seat in class, yes, but first, some civilistes. And they can now face their future. 3 hours are lost in this double shift system of education, which moves from 8 to 5 hours of lessons a day. School officials want to bridge this gap.
We have asked our teachers to prepare lessons on paper, which is given to students to keep them occupied during the 3 hours they are at home. 50% of questions during our second evaluation will be set from these lessons.
We are obliged to institute Saturday classes, especially for examination students. We are also according extra teaching hours to teachers with uncompleted syllabuses.
The strict presence of teachers in schools has to be upheld. Parents have to play their role in assisting students, while the students dedicate themselves to bookwork.
We anchor this term on a total synergy from parents, teachers, and administration, not forgetting the dedication of students in order to achieve success.
Strategies expected to pay off with success if fully applied.
One of the priorities of the state from 2021 will be to lay the foundation for the development of projects aimed at enabling the country attain an 8% growth rate. This will be done with a number of sectors in focus, amongst them agriculture and wood. Clarice Aritakang has more.
It will be gain all the way if these sectors play a leading role in Cameroon's economic space. That is, however, the experts' view about the promise of sustainable wealth which agribusiness, processing, textiles and even mining hold. Their contribution to enable the country inch towards an 8% growth target should be grounded on investments in the broadest sense.
Make an emphasis on the agro-industry. The second sector should be the one of forest and wood industry. And the third sector should be one of the cotton and textile.
While all necessary conditions for foreign merchandise to gradually give way to homemade goods are yet to be guaranteed, appropriate machinery, well-equipped processing plants, and the steady supply of raw materials to budding and established enterprises are crucial.
We should expect more value added once those products are locally transformed and then exported. Not at a crude product, but at transformed product. We should expect that the government and the public sector should be the first kind to acquire the product locally made.
Working this out will require putting the money where it is needed, using the right people and technology to get the job done, while paying attention to details such as standards and ensuring that there is more than enough to satisfy consumer demands and state coffers.
Cameroon counts on prioritizing short-term projects and conducting periodic controls of the execution of works on infrastructural development projects to boost economic growth. To get the results coming, experts advise that the cost of structural projects such as the Menvele hydroelectricity dam and the Simalen motorway must be looked into. Luma Slim Davies has more. Well, we shall be coming back to Luma Slim Davis's report. We take you over to the littoral region, where economic experts say for Cameroon to attain the 8.1% growth rate in 2030, as spelled out on the National Strategy and Development, it requires the concerted effort of both the private and public sectors. But before this, they insist some functional considerations be put in place. Veronica Benyala spoke to some economic experts in the littoral region and pitched this report for the 7:30 News.
To the Cameroon Statistical Yearbook 2017 edition, the private sector provides the largest part of economic growth. This is estimated around 77% of the gross domestic product, excluding the oil sector. However, a projected growth rate of 8.1% on average between 2020 and 2030, according to the SND 30, can only be possible if the productions of all companies, private and public, experience additional investments, that is, all things being equal. In terms of government or public administration, the National Investment Company, SNI, is the tool that can materialize the political will to achieve a growth rate of 8%. The SNI should therefore initiate an innovative strategy that will boost the level of investment in the private and public sectors. A strengthening of credit to the economy could go through other sources of financing parallel to bank credit. The stock exchange is already a suitable place. 8% growth rate by 2030, yes, it is possible. The mechanisms are in place. All Cameroon needs is the dynamism.
And as you heard earlier on, Cameroon counts on prioritizing short-term projects and conducting periodic controls of the execution of works on infrastructural development projects to boost economic growth. To get the results coming, experts advise that the cost of structural projects such as the Menvele hydroelectricity dam and the Simalen motorway must be looked into. Luma Slim Davies completes the story.
With a view to becoming an emerging economy by 2035, the President of the Republic prescribed an 8% economic growth.
We can invest and try to capture the maximum of resource that will create value added to our own economy. There's a need to create value, to give another value to to our products by starting transforming some of them.
Either you boost the consumption, that will relaunch by demand, or you boost the investment, you boost the industrialization, and you end up in a structural change of the economy in order to have an economic growth. That's a 2% growth expected in 2021 to the 8%.
Another worry to bring solutions to is the high cost of structural projects, which is a drawback to economic progress.
If there is a delay that is caused by the Cameroonian administration, the cost of those delays should be borne by Cameroon administration.
Concerning the execution of the structural projects at the prescribed cost, it's just about fighting against corruption and streamlining the process of awarding contracts.
However, with Cameroon's economic potentials, the target of 8% growth is within reach.
Civil servants who are due retirement this year have described the presidential decree harmonizing retirement age in Cameroon as a stitch in time, with workers of Category A and B to henceforth retire at 60, while those of Category C and D at 55. The workers agree they will give in their best to move Cameroon's development forward. Ewan Aipole spoke to some of them and compiled the following report for the 7:30 News.
Cameroonian civil servants benefiting the decree harmonizing the age limit to go on retirement have expressed gratitude to the head of state, President Paul Biya. Workers of Category C and D that will henceforth retire at 55, like Augustine Momi, says she was very happy to receive the good news.
I'm supposed to go retirement 1st January 2021, so I will have retirement benefits.
Mr. Matuga Ekane, belonging to the group of Category A and B, who was retiring at 55, will instead retire at 60.
The decree of the head of state has come to add 5 more years to my career. It has been a long cry for all civil servants. With regard to me personally, it is just going to be a completion of what I had already done within my 55 years.
According to them, President Paul Biya has demonstrated his determination to work relentlessly for the improvement of the working conditions of civil servants and the well-being of the people at large.
President's and Prime Minister's text harmonizing the ages of retirement for civil servants and state agents are not only an answer and long-standing request, but there are also acts of justice and search for optimization of experience. Kilian Dandifon spoke with the Minister of Public Service, Joseph Lee, who explains the motivation, context and untainted measures of the text in this report.
The December 30 decrees on the harmonization of retirement ages have a specific and peculiar context.
Those 2 decrees, because there's one from the President of the Republic and another one from the Prime Minister, head of government, are the realization of promise done by the head of state. It's also a kind of answer to a demand coming from civil servants.
The decrees also favor some people enjoying service extension at age of retirement.
Last year, for example, you were already 55, but you asked a prolongation to the head of state that were given to you. With this new measure, you can now go on 2025.
Civil servants and state agents who had tabled their request for retirement need not worry.
If he already has the right to go, yeah, he can go. But for those who had some files already in the circuit, they can now appreciate by themselves, saying that I had to go. But since we have 5 more years, I would like to stay. We just stop the process.
But the state would like mature servants to stay on.
When somebody already has a lot of experience, it's important for us to keep him working.
The texts are appreciated by many as an act of justice.
Cameroon's 2019 statistics on road accidents estimates that 16.58% road accidents occur each year, killing about 1,000 people. 70% of the accidents are due to the human factors, with some observation that most of the fatal road accidents occur at night. The question that comes to mind now is, should Cameroonians be traveling by night? Our reporter, Constantine Baum, spoke to some Cameroonians and put together their reactions in this report.
To these passengers about to travel, accident is the most unwanted thing to happen. Their wish is for them to safely get to their destination, but at times, not all have been lucky to get home, as road accidents are quite often in Cameroon. Some passengers prefer the day journey.
Also being the risk of accident, which is higher traveling by night than traveling by day. Traveling by night actually surrounds passengers with a certain number of risks.
For others, the night journeys come with advantages.
I prefer traveling in the night because I have many things to do within the day. It saves time a lot and helps me to catch up with things, especially if it has to do with signing of documents.
To some, traveling in Cameroon is mostly by route. Therefore, the most important thing is to avoid accidents.
It's a matter of responsibility of agencies, drivers, and authorities.
If traveling by night is the new trend, then more safety measures have to be implemented.
To put emphasis in the technical aspect of the vehicle. Yaoundé, Bamenda is around 600 kilometers. So we must have 2 drivers. The driver have to be in agents before 4 hours, sleeping there, not in the quarter.
Road safety is a shared responsibility, as eliminating predictable road accidents requires commitment and informed decision-making by the government in collaboration with all stakeholders.
West Governor Awa Fonka Augustine has paid condolence visits to some families in Kutaba Nun Division affected by the recent road accident in Dikinimeki. He expressed to the head of state sympathy to the bereaved families, as you tell us, Hanan Jong of our West Regional Bureau in Bafoussam.
The Ndikinimiki ghastly accident of December 26 has come to be known as a veritable apocalypse in Kutaba subdivision, as 32 out of the 39 deaths are from the administrative area alone. As the governor and his close aides approached the various compounds of the victims, faces were drawn and grief was the most available element. The governor, in well-thought-out consoling words, expressed the deep and sincere condolences of the head of state and government, adding that the entire nation shares the pain of the victims' families.
The death of many people in this village, Son Excellency Paul Biya sent all a government to assist a family when they have a problem.
A word of prayer ended the condolence visit at every compound.
In any case, we should not rest on our laurels. I have personally observed that most of our fellow citizens no longer comply with the protective measures prescribed by the government.
In his end-of-year address to the nation, President Paul Biya frowned at the non-respect of barrier measures against COVID-19 by some Cameroonians. He added that if we want to limit the spread of the virus, barrier measures must be respected. What changes have so far been noticed since January 1, 2020? Let's now join Baldwin Sama at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center with his guest, Dr. Joseph Fokam, with updates. Hello, Baldwin.
You, Gladys Tata, should say it's a disturbing situation noticed so far, with more and more Cameroonians who have stopped respecting these outlined barrier measures to limit the spread of the coronavirus, as stated by the President of the Republic. Tonight, with our guest, Dr. Joseph Fokam, we try to find out what has changed in the different communities as of for the 1st of January 2021. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, Baldi.
After this strong call for Cameroonians to continue respecting these outlined barrier measures, what has changed in the communities with regards to this respect of these barrier measures from the communities?
effectively burdened. At the Chantal Biya International Research Center, we were on call from the December 31st up to the day of January 1st. And what we have observed during this our call activity, we realized so many people in the community did not practice the barrier measures in spite of the head of state emphasis, striking the fact that it is important to continue to put on our face masks, keep this physical distancing. Almost nobody during this festive period was using those barrier measures. And as a major consequence, we realized yesterday our data is showing 19% of positive cases on PCR. So actually, we really have a worrying situation, and we really need people to go back to barrier measures. Why not even implementing some repressive actions?
Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph Fokam, for giving us all those updates. As days go by, more and more Cameroonians get tested positive for the coronavirus, telling signs that we must respect all these outlined measures by the government of Cameroon to limit the spread of COVID-19 and avoid a possibility of a second wave for this pandemic. Back to you, Gladys Tata.
Baldwin Sama, and hope to be in your company same time tomorrow. And on to something more lively. About 6 children were born in Ebolova South region in the early hours of January 1, 2021. Described by their mothers as New Year gifts, families of the newborn babies have hailed health workers for their effort to care for the sick, even on days of feasting. Lenny's Diale tells us more in Ebolova.
At exactly 2 minutes past midnight, baby Bruna is the first birth recorded this January 1, 2021 at the maternity of the Bolova Regional Hospital in the South region. I am so glad, first because God has granted me a safe delivery. I am proud of my little girl. Giving birth on the first day of a new year is a blessing that comes from God. In one of the private health facilities in the town, it is rather a bouncing baby boy who opened the year at 46 minutes past midnight. The lady arrived at our health center ready. She immediately put to birth and in favorable conditions. Both mother and child are doing well. Tired and exhausted, both parents and medical staff are rejoicing over the early birth of the year and have described them as auspicious.
Cameroonian Superintendent of Police Rebecca Nanga has been awarded second prize for Best Female in the UN Peacekeeping Mission MINUSCA in the Central African Republic. The outstanding lady, who has come to the end of her peacekeeping mission in the Central African Republic, has expressed satisfaction for this recognition as one that urges her to do more. CRTV Special Envoy to the Central African Republic, Caroline Okianoma, caught up with her and now compiled this report.
It is understood that any economy will be threatened in the presence of insecurity. Since December 23, we are living in a bad situation due to poor information circulating around. Before, business was going on well. People don't go out, business is not moving. Kemka Jacob is a poultry farmer who has lived in the Central African Republic for the past 25 years.
We are waiting with the hope that people will understand that they should not always destroy. If people don't destroy, we will put more money to produce more.
Ce n'est pas vraiment ça. On va mettre des moyens pour faire mieux. We came here to implant this bakery. The name of our enterprise is Swagis. Much person know it with the name Pain Bonheur because the bread we produce here is a wonderful bread.
Cameroon is the economic lungs of the Central African Republic. It is hoped that the tension will ease up with the proclamation of the results.
In sports, the different stands to be used at the fan zone during the African Nations Championship are currently being erected at the esplanade of the Yaoundé Town Hall. Expected to accommodate supporters of all the 16 participating countries, the venue will serve as an entertainment space for football lovers, as giant screens will permit people watch live games. Romeo Kenny has details.
About 3,000 people are expected to troop into this fan zone during the African Nations Championship CHAN. Amongst the different stands being erected on the hectare piece of land, Cameroon's cultural diversity will be on the limelight at this angle. Via rigid giant screens, supporters will have the possibility to watch live confrontations. While reputed artists will keep fans busy on stage, the spectacle will be spiced with snapshots along invited football icons.
Be able to come here in family, to enjoy and to be proud to feel being Cameroonian. We're going to have so many stars here. Stars of football, stars of show business, stars of industry.
This corridor behind the VIP stand is to enable fluid mobility in the area as merry-go-rounds bundle the joy of young stars.
You're going to have a stage here with the branding of our manifestation. Before getting into this site, you're going to have the possibility to wash your hand, to clean your hand, to buy, to have a mask.
Constructed per CAF modalities, the fan zone will be open to the public from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day.
And Romeo Kenny's report draws the curtains on this edition of the 7:30 News. Thanks for watching. Join Adele Mbala at 8:30 for the news in French. And good night from all of us on the 7:30 Pro.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.